Hello and welcome. Hello and welcome to the Real Entrepreneurs with Sergio Angulo. I'm your host, Sergio Angulo, yours truly. This is episode number 3, and today we have an amazing guest that I've been following for a very long time. But before we introduce him, let me tell you a little bit about this top producing entrepreneur. He has been in the title industry for over 20 years, a strong believer in serving every client with attention to detail. To him, nurturing true relationships is what matters most. He's been part of the legendary Bravo family for, since the beginning of his career. 10 years into his career, he branched off on his own and went out to make a name for himself. And that he sure did. The one and only Mr. DB Title, Danny Bravo, welcome.
Sergio, thank you so much for having me. Appreciate the opportunity. Obviously, I mentioned this was my first broadcast, so it's an honor to be with you. And again, I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you for the kind words about my family and being legendary. That means a lot to myself and to my family, so thank you.
Absolutely. I couldn't, have thought about anybody else that I would have wanted to be on this show today. And, you're a true inspiration in the industry, and I'm super excited. So let's just, jump right into it.
Appreciate that. Okay. Appreciate that.
So, Danny,
where did we meet, Sergio?
Oh,
first
my
off,
goodness.
Before we get into the boring title stuff.
We met, we met as soon as I joined C21, right? I used to be at a different office.
Correct.
I was kind of like looking, okay, who's going to be my title rep? Because I had one before, but, it was just, I wanted somebody, I was coming to a new office and I wanted somebody new. So we met probably about a week into me joining the office here.
And I think you said there's an opportunity, and I said I'd love to take that opportunity. And I think once we met, you said, I found my title rep.
That was it.
I said, no more interviews?
No more interviews. It was just one and done.
That's like a listing appointment, right? You get in there, you sign the listing, and anyone else behind you,
cancel.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
It
was actually really cool because, I just felt the energy. It was right. And I was like, yeah, there's no need to talk to anybody else. This is my guy, and he's gonna provide the service that I need for my clients. So,
and I agree. I think that has a lot to do with, in our industry, right? Energy, and if you connect with somebody. So I think the feeling was mutual in terms of when we met each other, the energy was there automatically, instantly
from day one.
And it has not changed every time we see each other.
Literally,
DB Title, Angulo,
the Angulo group.
So your team, I love your team, everybody that you put together. So congratulations on your success also. So
thank you.
You want to get started with the boring title stuff? Let's do it.
Yeah, let's just jump into question number 1, because I think our listeners would really want to know.
Yes.
I think, what is a title officer at the end of the day?
Correct. So we do get asked that question often. So we are title reps, right? So about 80% of the industry will say, hey, Danny Bravo is my title officer. He's my title officer, but truly I'm a title rep.
Okay.
So reps goes out there, we visit accounts, we cold call just like realtors, right? We identify offices, we identify agents, just like you guys are door knocking or cold calling. We say, that looks like a good prospect. Let me go out to this person to try to acquire his business. So title reps, we're field reps. We're out there getting the business, ground and pound, belly to belly, eye to eye. And we need to convince you as the agent why Danny Bravo or DB Title is the best option to grow your business. So we are title reps, right?
Got it.
Purest form. Then there's title officer. They would be like an underwriter. Oh. So you open up a deal, or escrow opens up a deal. As far as a rep, we're kind of done from that perspective. It goes directly up to the title officer. He underwrites it. He looks at it. He looks for any conditions that they may have. At that point, escrow and title officer, they connect. So it's interesting because agent and title rep, that's our relationship. You have no idea who my title officer is.
I don't.
If you ask an escrow officer, right, whether it's Lorena or who you use down there, Lorena will say, oh, I love Scott, right? Or I love Gary Mountain. So that's their relationship.
Interesting.
So people think, granted, escrow and title reps, we have a great relationship, but escrow officers are smart enough to know that when they need things done, they don't call DB Title, they call the actual title officer, the underwriter, to approve the deal.
Got it.
So it's title rep, title officer, and then there's a senior ATO, which is a advisory title officer. So if the TO cannot make a decision, that's when the ATO, which is the ultimate underwriter, gets involved and says yes or no. But that's where the clout of a title rep comes in, because the ATO will say, who's the client? Sergio Angulo. How long have you known him? More than 2 years. Do you trust him? Yes. Has he ever had a claim? No. Is he going to get us in some sort of trouble? No. Danny Bravo, do you approve this deal or do you endorse this deal? Absolutely yes.
100%.
So we play a part in the ultimate decision making if the TO cannot make the decision for his or herself.
Got it.
So that's a title breakdown.
It's not just you being a title rep. It's not just you building the relationship and then giving the deal to somebody else and then that's it, right? It's you do have some power in making that deal happen if things need to be pushed.
Oh, absolutely. So I think that's where, so ground level, we make the connection, we establish the relationship, we pass it on to the TO. But ultimately, when there's a decision that has to be made, if you're a good title rep, again, if you're a good title rep, you get involved and you don't let the ATO make the decision based on not knowing who Sergio is. You have to lay it out. You have to sell Sergio and convince our ATO that this deal is good. He will not put us in default or compromise the integrity of our company. There will be no claim. I, Danny Bravo, put a stamp on it and let's close this deal.
And get it done.
Yes.
That's, I'm an agent. I didn't even know that answer. Honestly, that was pretty impressive. So, wow, you broke it down so clearly. Very
Thank
cool.
You. After 21 years in the business, I could probably break down ATO and TO and everything, title rep.
And just give it how it is, right? I like it. Danny, tell our listeners, how did you get started in the industry? How did that happen?
Originally, about 21 years ago, I graduated from USC. Developed good relationships there. I was in a fraternity. I told my dad approached me and said, "Hey, I want you to join my title team." At that point, my younger brother David was on the team, and I believe my sister Socorro, probably my older brother Ralph. So the Bravo team was already established. I was the one that chose the college route, just because I had an option to play a little bit of football. But when I graduated, my dad said, and I said, "Dad, I don't want to get into title just yet. Let me explore," because I picture myself working downtown in a building, high rise, wearing a suit, cruising the streets, carrying a briefcase, having that swag, kind of New York, LA.
Oh, wow, okay.
And I kind of picture myself in that genre. So my dad said, "Look, if I can match any offer that you get from any high rise sales building executive, if I can match that, will you consider title?" I said, "Sure." So I interviewed with about 3 different companies and legit, all downtown, all on the 50th, 60th, 80th floor. And I got every single job because the USC connection is so tight in LA. So,
and you were in football, right? So then
I played football also. Correct. Okay. So my dad, as far as football, we'll circle back.
Okay.
So my dad said, if I can match any offer, fast forward through offers came in at the time. This was 2000, right?
2000. Okay.
I think what my industry, highest, what industry? They're all sales. So it was sales. Selling commercial, like tractors, manufacturer stuff. It was all sales though. Okay. I wanted to do sales. There was also an insurance opportunity, but it's all sales oriented, cold calling, meeting people. So the highest offer I think was like $45,000, which 2002 was like a not bad offer, right?
Not bad, yeah.
You just graduated from high school, $45,000. I'm thinking like I made it.
Yeah. Let it rain.
So I approached my dad. I said, "Dad, here's the highest offer." He obviously matched it. I joined his company, and 21 years later, I'm still doing title, and that's sort of how it evolved.
And so it's everyone in kind of the family, right?
Correct. Wow. Correct.
Well, your dad did a good job bringing you in. I mean,
appreciate that.
You're a legend in the industry.
I think he got me cheap.
He got you pretty cheap, honestly.
If I had to renegotiate today, it would not be $45,000.
No. 150 plus minimum. Okay. Well, that's awesome. I mean, tell us a little bit about your experience playing football at USC. How did that go?
So originally I played at Bishop Aumont High School, which back in the mid-90s was like a powerhouse. I was going to be a title rep after high school. So everybody in my family sort of went high school title rep, basically. My mom is also a real estate broker. So we were sort of born into this business, if you will. And her name is Socorro Garcia, which she's been a broker for about 35 years. And she's extremely great at what she does.
I did a deal with her.
Oh, you did? That's right.
I did.
Okay, so tell me about my mom.
My team did. Well, I think I spoke to her once or twice, but
was it pleasant?
It was a tough deal on the buyer side. Rates had just popped off, and it was kind of crazy. But
we got it under 5 minutes? The conversation
was probably under like 3 minutes. But one of the agents on my team built a really strong relationship with her, and even though the deal was hard, your mom kept composure. there was a contingent sale. It took took a little bit longer, but we got the deal closed. So great experience working with her.
Yeah. So I grew up in the business. She's been a broker and a beautiful woman. I'm the closest DNA to her out of all my brothers and sisters, right? So I applaud myself for that.
That's good.
And thank you, Mom and Dad, for that.
Shout out, Mom.
I love you, Mom.
There you go.
Yeah, but kudos to my dad. As far as football is concerned, so football sort of gave me an option to go to college because I looked at all my brothers and sisters and they went straight to work, right? And that was kind of the thing to do. So football kind of gave me an opportunity to explore college, kind of live college life. And I'll tell you what, it is the most beautiful thing. So I encourage any realtor out there, any parent out there, if they're questioning whether or not their child should go to college, they should. My football career led me to a lot of opportunities. I was actually a walk-on in 1997. Paul Hackett was the coach at USC.
Oh, wow.
I played safety. So being a walk-on, you're talking about paying your dues. You're a tackling dummy. Like whatever needs to be done, you have to do it to earn your respect of the teammates.
Wow.
Right? They don't know who Danny Bravo is. You have to earn your name. And a lot of these players are scholarship athletes where they're coming in highly recruited. So they know exactly who you are, exactly what you bring to the table. But as a walk-on, you have to prove yourself a little extra. So I walked on. I was a tackling dummy, right? I took my hits, took my licks. The next year, they only travel 52 people out of about 90 football players. Wow. So I made the 52-man travel roster my second year. And I think that translates into our industry in terms of being relentless, not giving up, having that grit to keep fighting for what you believe in. Ultimately, you're going to achieve that goal. So when I traveled with 52 players on an airplane, you get treated like kings. I mean, you get food, you get money sent to you. Actually, not by donors. There's a stipend check. There's a stipend check. NCAA.
Be clear. Be very clear.
There's a stipend check that is given to you. Long story short,
you get the red carpet, essentially.
Red carpet. Yeah. I mean, they get classes chosen for you.
Wow.
You walk around campus, they know you're a football player. I joined a fraternity.
Football fraternity? Or
I was separate.
Okay.
So I was on the football team and I would join a fraternity. If anybody knows USC, it's on 28th Street. One of my good friends, Petros Papadakis, actually has a radio show that you should tune into. Oh, wow. It's AM 570. He's still my good friend, and he's brilliant on the radio. So I joined a fraternity, played football, best years of my life, fastest 4 years of my life, but it taught me so much about myself in terms of turning into a man, right? Doing laundry, right? Doing things for yourself, sort of like growing and evolving and maturing. And you're not living at home where you're getting meals made by mommy and daddy. Mommy and daddy are not doing the laundry. You're kind of on your own, if you will.
They're not there just to like lift you up.
Correct. You're on your own.
Yeah.
So I implore everybody to encourage their kids to go to college because I believe in this small little circle of real estate, which college degree is not necessary.
Yeah.
And I hate and I despise when people say college is not necessary. Don't go to college. And I tell people, look, in the outside of this little bubble, it is very necessary.
Very.
2008 wasn't that long ago.
Yep.
When the market crashed and 60-70% of the people that left the business went on exodus. If those people did not have a degree, they weren't going to find a job
at all.
McDonald's, supermarket, whatever they can do. But if you have a degree, that opens up so many doors in a real corporate America, not reality. In this real estate bubble where it's not required. Yeah. Correct. So shame on anybody that does not encourage people to go to college. You should go to college because real estate is not for everybody. We don't know where this business is going to be in 20, 30 years, right?
Oh, yeah.
Title rips could be obsolete. 5 years.
5 years.
So in 5 years, so get your degree. It's super important. And I really believe that the college experience is something that everybody should enjoy.
When I went to college, I went into it really just doing it for my parents, honestly, in all honesty.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I played football for my dad, kind of.
Kind of, right? So it's like I did it just doing it for my parents. My parents had, first generation Mexican Americans. They felt getting a college education was super important, right? And by the time I graduated, I realized that them forcing me to go do it was the best thing they could have ever done.
Right.
I've never really used my degree for anything, right? I've never showed it to anybody. It hangs on my wall in my office. That's pretty much it. But the lessons I learned from going to school, being on my own, I lived in North Hollywood on my own. Before that, I never experienced, there was things that I experienced living on my own.
Right.
In that, I was in a part of North Hollywood that was like very diverse. Okay, it was pretty intense. You know, there was like homeless people. I was, you know, getting home from school really late. It was not the best neighborhood.
But you couldn't run home.
I couldn't run
and
home.
say, hey,
exactly.
I'm scared. I'm
scared.
nervous.
I'm nervous. I don't want to. Yeah, and so I had to like adapt, learn,
Right.
and that's the one thing that I've used in my career as a realtor is adapting, changing. You know, jumping into something even though I'm scared, because it's the thing that needs to happen.
Correct.
With COVID and everything that's happened, you know, it's like I could see those skills coming out now. And,
Absolutely.
And so I'm sure it sounds like you experienced kind of the same thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
2008 was crazy. You weren't around in 2008, but
I wasn't.
it was.
Well, I was around.
You were around.
I was just like
you just weren't in the industry.
I was like, you know,
Were you 8 years old?
I was like 8 years old. Yeah, literally. I was like in the 5th grade.
And I'm gonna share a quick story. So in 2008, that's when I really saw the degree at work. We had just had my son Daniel in 2009. Right, market sucked. All right, there was people that were actually committing suicide in our industry. It was a very sad time for a lot of people, where they lost their lives, they lost their marriages. Right, they lost everything pretty much. It was a sad time. But I wanted to see if this degree is actually something we could put into use. So I sent my degree out. I had three interviews, all paid over $100,000. Wow. Just by having the degree. That was a minimum requirement. I got a job with Meyer Laboratory. There was 50 people in the room. This is no joke, true story. I had Dan who had zero income. I had to make ends meet.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to leave title, but I needed supplemental income.
To bring it in.
So you go in a room of 50 people. They literally said one by one, all right, you stand up, tell me about yourself.
In the room.
In the room.
Oh my God.
And you're talking people that are 50 years old, 40 years old. I was in my early 20s at the time. And more than half the people couldn't even talk in public, right? So once they got up, you could immediately say like, you're done, which I kind of liked that theory.
Yeah.
Like either you're in or you're out, either you're good or you're going to go. So more than half the people couldn't say anything. I would say about 15 of us. So, hey, my name's Danny Bravo. I'm in sales, looking forward to working at Meyer Laboratory. I look forward to this opportunity. If you hire me, I will not let you down. So I made it to the second round. Right. So then there was like 10 people. So they took us out on the field to meet these, I guess, clients, right? These vendors. Meyer Laboratory sold cleaning solutions.
Okay.
So 10 people went on the field. Out of those 10 people, 5 made it. I made it to the top 5.
And then they made all you guys just fight each other.
So the top 5, it was one-on-one interviews with the CEO. With the CEO. So one-on-one interviews with the CEO. They made us all get in a Zoom call separately, right? Separately. So on those Zoom calls, get that, man. What if it's a listing? Are you sure?
No, I'm good.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Hanging it up.
So out of those 5 people, they made us all get on Zoom calls, separate Zoom calls, by the way. My wife didn't tell me, but they had mailed a champagne bottle to our house. We were living in Riverside at the time. So she goes, hey, get on this Zoom call. So I'm like, shit, man, can we?
Yeah, we can cuss. Yeah.
Mom, I apologize for that. I was nervous. She says, shit. So I was very nervous.
Sounds like your mom.
I was very nervous. So on that Zoom call, my wife brings up the champagne bottle when I'm talking to my sales recruiter and the CEO. Danny, you did a fantastic job. We appreciate your efforts. But we're going to share some news with you. And I thought, man, I didn't get it. You know, it's all good though. Yeah. But we're going to share some news. You got the position at Meyer Laboratory. And my wife gave me the champagne bottle. And I felt so relieved, man. And I was so excited about myself for accomplishing that. And there was one caveat that I told him. I said, I cannot travel. I have a 1-year-old boy at home that my wife needs me to kind of watch over because she's working also. No problem, Mr. Bravo. You got the job. They're based out of Kansas City. So about a week into it, 10 days into it, they said, hey, you have to travel to Kansas City. Mind you, they shipped probably about $20,000 of merchandise to my house in Riverside. So my garage was full of Meyer Laboratory cleaning, which I think we still have today. So Meyer Laboratory, thank you for that.
Shout out.
Even though you canned me. So when I said I cannot travel, they said, well, you're going to have to. And I said, no, but that was one of the requirements I said we cannot do. And they said, well, we're going to have to let you go. Literally on the spot after all that work, getting through the qualifications, getting through the interview process.
Popping the bottle.
I did pop the bottle, actually.
Oh my God.
And they fired me, dude.
Wow.
But Sergio Angulo, that was the best thing that could have happened to me, because I think if I would have took that opportunity, I don't think I would have looked back at title. I really don't.
Interesting.
So that really was a blessing in disguise. So I'm grateful for that, because I just told my wife at this point, look, I love title. It's in my blood. It's in my passion. This is what I was born and raised to do. Since I was 8 years old, my dad used to take us out. 8 years old.
Wow.
So that's
8 years old, you were out there.
8 years old every summer. So you order a property profile, right?
Yeah.
So he would pay us a quarter for each property profile ordered. So I walk into an office. Hey, Miguel, do you need a property profile? Oh, yes, Daniel, please, por favor, give me a property profile. This is in Southgate.
Yeah.
Old offices like Western Realty, C21 ABS back in the day. They were in Firestone.
No, on Firestone? Okay.
We stood east of Pacific. My dad didn't allow us to go to Pacific.
Okay, got it. Good.
Dad, who's that girl walking down the street dressed like that, man?
Why is she walking like that, Dad?
So he would pay us a quarter for every property profile and 50 cents for a farm package.
Oh, wow.
You know, so we'd earn 20, 30 bucks or whatever. But so since 8 years old, 10 years old, 12 years old, we were selling title insurance. Wow. So you run into agents that have been around for 30, 40 years. Like, they remember us as little kids, my sister, my brother David, Socorro David, walking around selling title insurance.
Wow. That's
literally.
That's amazing.
Literally.
I don't know that many people that could say that they had something like that with their dad.
And,
that relationship, you know.
Oh yeah.
That
and
bond.
He used to drive this old, like when the vans first came out, like the minivan, and they called it the egg. It was a Toyota minivan, just white, all white. So they called it the egg. The egg.
Who called it the egg? Like
the clients did.
Oh my God, the egg is here. That's funny.
And we fall
Next
asleep.
time I see your dad, I'm gonna say that. Hey, the egg. Do you remember?
He'll remember it.
He'll remember.
We fall asleep by like 1 p.m., 12 p.m. because we were so tired. And that's where people, I think, they get confused and they think title's easy. It's like, granted, title's not hard in terms of we're not underwriting. There's not a lot of paperwork, but when you're talking to hundreds of people a day, 50, 7,500 people a day, and you have to be on point. You have to be, right? Yeah. Nobody wants a born, hey, Sergio, how are you?
How are you? Good.
Can I get title, bro?
Get away. I don't want to work with you.
So it's like, Sergio, how you doing, brother? How's your day, man? How's your family, man? Good. How was your weekend?
Good.
Hey, man, there's a good opportunity. There's a good program. There's a good farm package I want to introduce to you. Do you have 2 minutes of your time? I will not lose those 2 minutes.
Let's do it.
Absolutely, right? So imagine doing that like 75, 100 times a day.
Okay, I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you deal with it when the agent on the other end is not having like a good day? Maybe they're like down, negative. How do you like?
I used to let it get to me.
Yeah.
Like if I was the problem, right? Mm-hmm. Like what did I do wrong? Maybe my approach is bad. And then over the years, there was a good escrow officer, Cecilia Camacho. Sorry, Ceci, Ortega. Ceci Ortega. She says, Danny, you're not going to be the title rep for everybody. And in my mind, right, if we're successful and alpha and we think we're the best, like everybody's going to give me title. And she said, what I've learned in this business is title. You're not going to be everybody's title rep. So if somebody's having a bad day, I literally shake their hand. I say, God bless you. Wish you the best. And let's reconnect in a few days. And I don't let it bother me, which I used to let it really get me down because I'm thinking like, how is that my approach? Is my delivery wrong? But I think it's more a them problem.
Yeah.
Versus like me.
So you need to separate it,
but
right?
It took time to learn that. Definitely took time.
I've had a hard time with that.
And that's super important in sales.
Yeah. And so I've been really actively working on getting coached and mentored on how to separate that because I'm a personal. Yeah. I'm a super emotional person. Like I'm super dedicated to what I do. And sometimes people are just having a bad day.
I think that's where you and I connect because I think, and my sister and my mom can attest to this. People think that we're brash and we're sales and we have no fear and we'll go out to everything, which we will.
Yes.
But my mom says I'm the most ultra sensitive out of her kids. And I think a lot of people would not believe that just based on our dress or our appearance and our confidence. Yeah. But I think that's where you and I connect because we do care.
So
we
much.
Probably care too much.
Yeah.
And that hurts us to a certain extent. But I think that also makes us unique and separates us from 80% of the industry that really just don't give a
at all. Yeah. Literally, I think it's more like 95% probably of people in the industry really don't care. And when you really care, I mean, it's hard to not take things personal, right? But I think actively making an effort every day, I've gotten better at like working on kind of separating that. And obviously, you know, talking to people like you that have been in the industry for so long, hearing like what it is that you do has really helped me. So good insight.
And that's took me to a level where I'm at today, right? So I'd rather surround myself with people like Sergio Angulo, Annabella Jimenez upstairs, Tony Serrano, El Leon, if you're listening.
Tony the Broker.
El Leon. I love that guy.
You hear that, Tony?
I love that guy. So again, it's for me at this point in my career, right? It's not about the quantity. It's about the quality of agent I surround myself with. People that truly care about Danny Bravo and Alex, my wife, and my two boys, Daniel and Dylan. They care about them. It's just not a number like, Danny, if you can't do that, I'm going to go to the next title company. And if they can't do it, I'm going to go to the next. Like, I don't need people or want people like that in my life at this point. Life is too short and it's too precious. So the people I surround myself with gives me that good energy.
Yeah.
Like, I want to continue to service and be around these people. And I wake up excited, right?
Yep.
And I found myself in a rut years ago where I wasn't excited. I was walking around like a zombie because I just felt like I was trying to please everybody. And you just can't.
You just can't.
You can't.
You can't.
So to the new agents or new reps out there, I think that's an important topic that you and I brought up. Like, you don't have to please everybody. Everybody doesn't have to be a fan. Just find the select few that are really, truly fans of yours, of your craft and your sales skills, and gravitate to those people because they're going to refer you to better people and good people. And that's how you grow genuinely organic, good business.
Good relationships.
Correct. Relationships are
Key.
huge.
Big time.
Huge.
Danny, what keeps you motivated? And we talked about it a little bit, but really tell me, like, deep inside, what keeps you motivated and what makes you really hungry to keep going forward, to keep moving forward?
So obviously my wife, Alexandra Bravo, she does very well in the banking industry.
Shout out Alexandra.
Apparently she's a big shot.
I've heard.
I have no idea.
She is a big shot.
She
B of
is,
A,
right?
right? B of A?
So
No.
B of A.
Oh, yeah, B of A, yep. I've heard of her.
But I know she's a big shot. We made a deal that when we get home, we take off our hats, like title rep hat, corporate B of A hat, and we're just mom and dad at that point to our boys. So that was our commitment. But she does very well, so she motivates me. My son Dylan, he's a huge motivator because every day when I get home, he says, Dad, how many orders did you open up? And I'll say 4. He'll say, that's fantastic, Dad. How about we go after 5? And that is no joke.
Wow.
Like, he literally holds me accountable. So Dylan Bravo is my man. He's a stud. He's my youngest boy. So he holds me accountable. Daniel, I think, is probably my biggest why because he was diagnosed with autism at 4 years old.
Wow.
And that was a very, very tough situation for my wife and I. I remember sitting in a room and this lady came out after the evaluated Daniel and they said, your son has autism. And I remember my wife just broke down and cried, like literally just cried. I remember looking at my wife like, why are you crying? He loves dad and mom. You know, he's affectionate with us. He knows who you are. But if you can't, even though he can't communicate, I know he loves mom and dad. But the more I digested autism, the more it really hit me in the heart. Like, fudge, man, this is a huge deal. And it's going to be a long road ahead of us. So it was interesting because I would get frustrated as a dad because my son could not talk to me. And I said, Daniel, just talk to me. Please talk to me. Talk to me. And I would get so frustrated with him. We took him to a hearing aid doctor in San Diego because they couldn't figure out if it was his hearing or what was going on. And if anybody's on autism or has family autism, they could be non-compliant. You know, they could sort of refuse everything. And if they're not comfortable in a situation, they're just going to shut off like that and they're out. So we drove to freaking San Diego, a 2-hour drive to this hearing aid station that apparently was great with autistic kids. We show up and it was like a waste of our time, dude. Daniel did not cooperate with one test. I think it was like 5 or 6 at the time. We're driving home. We're in a Jeep, I think at the time, or 4. I'm not quite sure. And I was literally like so frustrated. I had the music going. My wife is like, Danny, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I'm up.
That's okay. Water break.
So we're driving down and I'm like yelling at my wife, Alex, and you know, I'm saying like, like, why are we doing these things? Right.
Yeah.
Like we're just wasting our time. And if you can't talk, you can't talk. And so her and I are getting in a shouting match basically. And Daniel, like as an act of God, he says, Dad, literally on the way home and from like the worst experience of my life. And he says, Dad. And I remember looking at Alex like, did he just say that? And I pulled over on the freeway and I looked, I said, Danny. He goes, Dad? And I remember getting out of the car and I hugged him so tight. I said, Danny, we're here for you, man. We're here for you. It literally changed my perspective on autism in terms of how fathers should treat autistic kids, right? Like not through pounding, yelling, do this, Daniel, why can't you do that? Just talk, Daniel, please. Through patience and love and empathy, because their world is different. And from that moment on, I looked at Alex, my wife, and I said, I promise to be the dad that he needs me to be.
Wow.
And I completely did a 180, Sergio. And it was all about love and patience. And Danny, I don't care if you don't talk. Danny, we could play with trains that you want to put in lines for hours. He likes to dig holes in dirt, which he still does. And he's ruined our beautiful backyard. No kidding. You got our backyard in Brea? And he completely demolished it. But you know what? I don't care, dude.
Yeah.
That's material things, and I really don't care. And if Daniel's happy
That's what matters.
in Daniel's world, like, I'm okay with that. And he says, Dad, look at what I did. And he digs a 4-foot hole and takes out all our flowers and this and that. And he has these weird characters that he lines up. And he says there's like a zombie war going on.
Oh, my
or
gosh.
aliens, whatever. And it's like, Danny, look at Daniel. I said, Daniel, that's so awesome, man. I love you for being the young man you are. Daddy's always going to be here for you. And since that day, I feel like we've grown in our relationship. And he really leans on Daniel. He really leans on his dad. And Alex and I since that day, obviously. But for a lot of people, right, autism and there's divorces, which is huge. But thankfully, Alex and I are strong people. And I think our love did prevail under those extreme circumstances.
Wow.
So
that's, Danny, thank you for sharing. That was honestly inspirational. I mean, I think it shows the love that you and Alex have for each other, right?
Absolutely.
And obviously the love you have for your kids. So honestly, thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
Danny, tell me, what's one goal that you've reached in your career? Okay, one milestone that you're just like super proud of. What's that one thing? To drink some water because I need your voice to be good for this. Okay. What's something
it gets a little squeaky. I hate that, man.
No,
I hate it. I wish you could cry and just talk like a man.
I know. You should hear my laugh when I do that. It gets a little squeaky too. No, but what's one goal that you reached in your career that you're just like, man, this is something that just put a smile on your face that you were just proud of?
Probably when my wife and I bought our first investment property.
Wow.
That's something that I know that can change our generations, right?
Yep.
For Daniel and Dylan, when they grow up and they can have actual assets and real property. And I think it took me years
Build
to figure it out.
generational wealth, right?
Correct. And I think I want to do that, the generational wealth aspect. And I think once my wife and I bought our first investment property, because I thought, God, if every agent's doing it, and half the time they're saying, hey, Danny, research this property, I'm going to buy it. Hey, Danny, research this property, I'm going to buy it. And I, after years and years, I'm thinking, like, why not me, right?
Yeah.
Like, title reps can buy properties.
Yeah.
We're just not, like, here for property profiles and farm packages. So I think the proudest moment is when my wife and I, all things considered, 2008 crash, right? Daniel, where we were blessed with Dylan, which is a good offset. He's like little big brother. He helps Daniel talk. And Dylan, you're a stud for that. And I appreciate that because not a lot of kids are put in that predicament to be little big brother. And Dylan's really embraced that. So I love you, Dylan. So when we bought that first property, to me, my wife and I look back, like everything that we've been through, right? All the struggles, like we were here for a reason, and we never stopped believing, kind of like that walk-on mentality, right? Like we never stopped believing. You kept working, you kept striving for your goals, working out, the grit, the hustle. It's going to pay off at some point. God will meet you halfway, right?
Yeah.
God will meet you halfway.
And
so,
believing that.
Absolutely. Believing it is all of it. Yeah. And so we bought our first investment property. Shout out to Karina and...
Karina out of Pico Rivera?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Do you know Karina?
She's on the board of NOREP LA. So yeah.
Wow. At All Stars? This may be a different Karina.
Oh, it might be different. No, she's with Excellence now. The one that.
Okay. No. So Karina at All Stars. Adrian Ortega.
Oh, okay.
Is her husband and
wrong person. Sorry.
And Karina, Adrian, I appreciate the opportunity. They said, look, if there's any family that we want to bless, it would be you and your wife Alex and your two boys. So they gave us a triplex on 71st Street. For a very, very good deal about 6 years ago, or 5 years ago in LA.
In LA, okay, 71st Street, okay,
so cool. Triplex in LA, and we got a very good deal, and it's cash flowing for us. And I think at that point in my career, I knew that life is bigger than just title. To your point, like let's create generational wealth for our kids' future.
I think when you see it that way, right, you're
Correct.
doing something for your kids' future. It completely changes everything, right?
Right.
I mean, or even not just your kids' future, but like their kids, right, and your
Correct.
grandchildren, right? It's like
Correct.
We really investing in real estate. And there's really just maybe a couple other investments that I could think of, but real estate is really that driver that takes you to really building
Correct.
that wealth that lasts a lifetime.
And it's interesting because if you talk to a majority of agents and you ask them, do you own income property? What, 80% might say
I'd
no?
say maybe even more, but yeah, for sure.
75% might say no. And so I think that has to change. And I think that's where you're blessed with JJ as a broker, because he really pushes that and instills that and presses that upon you guys to build generational wealth, buy income property. And I don't know how many properties JJ has, but I'm sure he has a couple.
We'll find out next time we have him on the show.
And ask him about the tenant that wouldn't pay him rent, right? I'm sorry, that didn't want to buy the property like 30 years ago.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
I mean, what a story, right? You're begging a tenant, buy this property, and 30 years later they never bought it and they paid for it for you.
Yep.
Like how crazy is that?
It's insane.
But people do that all the time.
All the time. Do you mind sharing just briefly
Sure.
the breakdown on that deal that you got, like your first investment property? What was the buy-in price? What is it? What was your mortgage payment? What is it cash flow at? And now what is it worth?
I mean, don't quote me on the
No,
specifics,
but just
but I think it was right around 500,000.
Okay.
So we had to put 25% down. So does that equate to 125?
Okay.
All right. I played football in college.
Not math. You didn't play math. Okay. Yeah, but you were good. 125.
But I tell my wife on the degree, it does not have my GPA.
Oh, good. Thank
Right?
God.
It just says I graduated, and that's all people care about.
That matters.
That's
yeah.
it.
No one's ever asked me what my
She
GPA
goes,
was.
were you in honors? And my wife's like this smarty pants, and she was honor roll, and she had tassels hanging everywhere and all these patches everywhere. I'm like, Alex, it doesn't say that on the degree.
I literally was just in black. That was it. There was nothing on me.
I remember being buzzed, I think, at my graduation because all my fraternity brothers were partying all morning and all night.
Yeah.
So their breakdown was, I think it was 500,000, 125 buy-in. So that leaves our loan balance of 375. Okay. Right. So I think the mortgage is, and at the time, this was maybe it was 3 years ago or 4. The interest rates were like 2.5 on a non-owner OC.
Wow.
Like crazy interest rate for a non-owner OC because they were like at 1 for an owner OC. Mm-hmm. So I think our interest rates like were in the mid 2s. Non-owner OC investment property. So our mortgage was like 2,200, right around there. Okay. And our cash flow, I think, is right around 4,700.
Wow.
And it's a triplex. The 3-2 is in the front. Mm-hmm. So it's a 3-2-2 story. Mm-hmm. And then there's 2-2-1s in the back, up and down attached.
Wow. What is it worth now?
I asked Adrian this because I promised Adrian, I said, if we ever sold it, I have to give it back to you. Yeah. And he said he could probably get about 800,000, 799 for sure for that.
That's like
in 3 years.
It's a retirement.
Absolutely.
Wow. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you for that.
When you first started your career, what was the skill that you prioritized the most that like really that you felt helped you get to kind of where you're at now?
I mean, obviously consistency is huge, right? Being disciplined, but I think you have to be fearless in this industry. If you're afraid to go into an office, as far as the title rep's concerned, if you're afraid to go to an office that you have no idea who the people are, you're gonna lose, right? Because you have sharks out there like myself that aren't fearful. That would go in there and I'll take down Sergio.
Boom.
I'll say I'm the best title rep for you, and then it's a wrap.
Done.
It's a wrap. So I think from a title perspective, probably real estate, it translates to is you have to be fearless and taking no as a positive also.
Yep.
Because X amount of no's will eventually turn into yes at some point. So I think at first I was struggling with, God, I'm getting rejected. But just like agents get rejected. So you have to be fearless. And when I meet with a broker like JJ, he says, Danny Bravo, why would you be an asset to this company? Well, JJ, I can help your agents X, Y, and Z. Danny Bravo, how else? I can also do this for the escrow department, and I'll be dependable and accountable, and any agent that needs services, I will be there for them 100% of the time. JJ, if given the opportunity on a 90-day trial period, will you allow me to be a title rep in your office? And he gets up, he shakes my hand, he says, you have 90 days to prove it.
Wow.
And fast forward, I think we're at a year or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm kicking butt in here.
Yep.
And
Literally eating up everybody else.
Allegedly, there was a few people that were disappointed that I came in this office.
I've heard.
But God bless them.
We won't say any names,
God bless you guys. I'm going to do my thing. And it's not really a competition.
No, it's not.
I think it's a competition with myself.
Yep.
And if I could be the best version of myself, I will not lose. And I go into an office and I go into a presentation and I'm not going to lose. If given the opportunity, I will not lose. I don't care if that title people have 3 people, 4 people on their team. I'm telling you right now, Sergio, I am not losing.
Done.
I am not losing.
That mentality that you have of just like, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to attack, and this is mine.
I feel like I'm the best. And not in a cocky way, right? No. Just in a confident, like I truly feel in my heart, like I am the best title rep out here. And I am not going to lose.
Wow.
I'm not going to lose.
Mic drop.
DB title.
I love that. Danny, what would you know, we've talked so much about like how you got started, what you're doing, what title is. What does Danny do on his off time?
So obviously family's important. I'm a coach for my son's flag football team.
Okay.
So every Tuesday and Thursday from 3 to 5, I coach a flag football team.
Oh, wow.
So I'm Coach Bravo.
Coach Bravo.
And I tell these kids, hey, I know a little bit about football. I played in college. I played at a high level. So the things that I'm teaching you aren't just about football, but they're life skills, right? Don't give up. Finish through the line. Pay attention to detail because coaches look at that when you get into the high school, college level. And I wasn't the most gifted dude, obviously, right? I wasn't the most talented dude. I had what it took, but I wasn't the fastest guy. I wasn't the strongest guy. I wasn't the tallest guy. But I had discipline to do the little things right. And I think that's what separates myself from the people that were more talented, had more skills, but they didn't pay attention to the little things, the little detail that mattered the most.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that like throughout my career.
Was that your question?
That wasn't my question. That was part of that, but it's okay. I love where the direction we're going in. The question was, doesn't matter.
Okay.
No, I think I love that. Like,
what I do in the spare time.
What you do? We'll get to that.
Finish,
but you know, paying attention to detail, right? Yes. Like the small little things, you know, setting up the appointment, the way that you do everything, that's, you know, the way you do one thing is how you do everything. Right? Correct. So I think that's really big. I mean, I definitely preach that for sure.
Well, like, and in real estate and title, right? We're synonymous because we rely on each other, and there's title reps, and God bless them because everybody has different styles, but they run into office and say, I visited 20 offices today and just card. How you doing?
No relationship.
And it's like, you have to build that rapport, right? Build that relationship. I'd rather make 2 quality calls in one day, but really create that foundation of that relationship and the rapport and really build something that's going to last.
Yeah.
Right. Longevity.
Yeah. Big time. 100%.
I do triathlons, by the way, on my free time too.
Oh, you do? How does that go?
It was scary.
Okay.
To swim in an ocean for the first time, and I'm not a swimmer.
Wow. So
I turned 40, and obviously I have, you know, an athletic background. And more importantly, I want to be a leader and a dad that my kids can look up to. Not that I haven't done a bad job, but in terms of like, slow your roll, Dylan, slow your roll, Daniel. Daddy's still a beast, dude.
Yeah.
You're not going to knock me off this mountain just yet. Like, I'm still freaking lying, bro.
Yes.
So when I did my first triathlon at 40, at 40 years old, I said, God, man, what can I do differently? Jason Lucero, I don't know if you ever watched this, but he motivated me to do triathlons. So I said, screw it, I'm going to do it. So I did Newport Dunes. It's an Olympic marathon. You have to swim a mile, bike 26 miles, and run 6 miles. Whoa. All consecutive.
Wow. How long does it take to do all that?
So ideally, you want to do it in under 3 hours.
Okay.
But my goal is, I've done it every year minus COVID. So 40, 41. COVID was, I think, 42. I just did it last year. So every year that I'm getting older, guess what my time's getting?
Better?
Faster.
What? Wow. Because you keep practicing.
Correct. Oh, wow. So I could swim now in the ocean and not really feel any fear, even though things will tickle your leg. You're like, what the hell is that, dude?
Just keep swimming.
And you could bike. I could bike 50 miles and feel good about it. I could run 10, 15 miles and feel good about it. Wow. But I think it keeps you disciplined also. And I feel a lot of people, just in life in general, they let their bodies go, right? Diet's not important. Fitness is not important. I woke up this morning and I ran 3 miles this morning at like 5:45. Actually thinking about this show, kind of like envisioning like it's going to be a kick-ass show. We're going to have a great time. And I knew we would, But that's how my day starts. I always have to work out or run and do something.
Yeah.
So triathlons to me kind of keep a balance, and it keeps you in check and keep things in perspective because you're not out doing happy hours.
Yeah.
And you're not out doing non-rep things all the time.
Yeah.
It's great to do those things, but you also have family and you have to balance things. So I think triathlons have kept me sort of in balance.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
You going to swim with me one day or what?
Don't
tell me you're afraid of the ocean.
I'm a little scared.
I was scared.
I can get over my fear.
Good.
I'll do it.
Good.
Count me in.
Did you get that on paper? Is that, well, we're live.
We'll sign it.
So, yeah. Okay.
Danny, we're getting kind of to the end here of our questions, and then we're going to jump over to our game show. Okay. So, with the shifting real estate market and kind of the economic state that we're in, right? What are you doing differently on the title side, and what do you recommend for all our agents out there, business owners, entrepreneurs? What are you doing differently to make sure you stay ahead of what's coming and what's happening?
Right. So obviously, 10% of the production equals 90% of an office revenue, right? The 90-10 rule or 95-5 rule. So it's unfortunate, but I feel like in this industry, in this market, some people aren't going to make it, not because lack of skills. It's just what the market is dictating right now. So what I'm really trying to do is fine tune my resources and targeting the experienced agent or the people that I know will be successful in this next market. So if you spread yourself out too thin and you rely on what you did 2-3 years ago, where you're visiting 20 offices, speaking to thousands of people, that's not going to be successful in this market. So I feel like we really have to narrow down on the people that are going to help us make it through this market. So it turns into like a very small percentage of people from my perspective, right? In terms of clients that I know are going to thrive in this market. You have no fear. You're not nervous. You're not scared. You're going to take this market head on. And people are saying double down. Of course, everybody's going to double down. But I think it comes down to that consistency and the discipline and also the team that you build around you. So an Annabella Jimenez, right? I don't think she's nervous or scared right now. She's probably the busiest she's ever been right now. And I think because she has the systems in place. So I think from a title rep perspective, the advice I would give is to really focus on the people that have been in rough markets or the people that you see are going to thrive in tough markets. And again, it's a very small percentage. So I load up my resources. I get all my ducks in the line. I say, cool, for Sergio Angulo, I'm going to try to do X, Y, and Z for him because I know that's going to translate into more listings or more buyers. So I think right now it's about refining your skills, but really condensing your market and your sphere of influence and your clientele.
Getting super focused with it, right? With
Absolutely.
What you're doing, who you're talking to.
Like who you're lining yourself right now with. Like that's ultra important in this market because if you go this way a little bit, like you're going to get left behind in a huge distance.
Yeah.
So like stay the course, focus on the people that got you here and double down on those people. If you're a title rep, invest in those people, invest your time with those people because those people believed in you from day one and they're going to be with you at day 10, day 20, day 30. The people that were sort of like, I'm with you, Danny, but I'm also with this person or that person. Like those are the people that probably aren't going to be here in a year.
Yeah.
They're
because
really not.
Of who the fact that they're like that, right? And they're doing that,
Correct.
It really defines who they are inside and the way that they see things, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's very, very true. 110% agree.
Thank you.
Danny, let's jump over to our next part of the show here. The little game that we have that we like to call Hot or Not. Okay.
Hey, that was a game show like in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Really?
Yeah. So who can we...
Can we get the
Christian,
game show?
Christian, can you get out? Can you unhook your mic real quick? Yeah. You want to get in the shot or no? Do you mind?
Get in the shot.
I'm okay. Okay.
Okay.
Can you get in the shot? What?
Okay.
So we'll pretend there's an imaginary person right here, right?
Okay.
It was, are you hot or not, basically. So they bring out like 6 dudes that are ripped, dude. I mean, completely ripped. And they had like a laser pointer. So these, oh my God, who they were like these 80, 90 actors, right? Uh-huh. They would do out the laser pointer. They're like, oh, dude, like your abs are kind of whack, or turn around, your ass is kind of flabby. And they would laser point like to the ultimate, like, and they're like in little speedos, right? Uh-huh. girls would come out in bikinis and stuff like, and they would like laser points.
This was a show on
It was
TV?
a show.
Oh
Like,
my
so
God.
could you imagine where that show would be today? It would never
It
exist.
not even exist. Yeah.
So if you guys are out there, Google Hot or Not. It was and I watched the show.
Well, we're not going to make you get on the speed, okay? So don't worry about it. You're good there.
I'd probably do it. I feel like I'm hot. I feel like I'm hot, man. So they would tell the people like, no, you're not hot, basically, and they would get eliminated. And then the hottest person, guy and girl, would be like, oh, you're the hottest person in the world. And it's like, and then that was the show.
Would they get a prize or?
I think it was like $100 or something.
Oh
like
my God. Okay.
that. You don't have a laser? Are you going to put a laser pointer on me?
No. We're good. So let me explain how the game works. I'm going to tell you a topic or a statement, and all you need to do is respond hot or not. So you can say on fire hot, like super not, like no, like cold,
Smoking.
or smoking fire
Okay,
hot.
all right.
You know, something really cool like that. Okay. Cool. So for example, I'm going to say a statement like In-N-Out double cheeseburger animal style, and you would say
Fire.
on fire. Okay, I like it. We get it. Okay, are you ready?
Yep.
Customer service.
From
Just customer service.
smoking hot. Ultimate fire.
Customer service.
You have to be customer service orientated. You have to answer your calls. You have to be there for your client. You have to take care of their requests. That is the number one rule in sales. Be customer service oriented. Never let your client down.
Like
Fire.
Fire.
Yeah.
Okay.
You need we need like a siren.
Like,
Add that to the show next time. If you got like a little siren, yeah, that would be cool, dude.
What would happen when it's cold?
Huh?
What would happen like when
Crickets.
it's cold?
Crickets.
Crickets. Oh, okay, I like it.
Crickets.
Okay, we're gonna do sound effects next time.
You should. That would be awesome.
Sending past clients gifts.
Huge fire.
Important.
Sphere of influence. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Taking care of
think
them.
because the referral base is so huge, and I think if you lose contact with your referral base and people that you've actually supported and sold houses to, even from a title rep, if I work with someone and I'll show up for 2-3 months, it's like that relationship is done. So sending pack or presents to past clients, super huge. Fire, siren.
The whole 9 yards.
Oh yeah.
Having goals.
Ultimate.
You think that's like the most important?
Fire.
Yeah.
So for us, it was buying income property, right?
Yeah.
For me, it was doing a triathlon. Goal is something that you have to set to attain, because if not, we're just driving sort of like aimlessly in life.
Yeah.
What's the saying? If you finish this for me, bro.
Okay.
If you don't prepare, you're gonna fail to prepare. Or something
Yes.
How does it go?
If you don't prepare, you're preparing to fail.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
I like it. Cole, well, I guess following up with clients. I mean, you do some follow up, right? I mean, you're and it's hey, just checking in on you, right? But like, is that something that with what you know in the industry that you're in, is it really important to continue be following up all the time?
I don't think so. I think that's more of like a thaw sort of, back burner stuff, because it's one deal and done for us.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's residual. Granted, we established that relationship, but we're not saying, hey, Sergio, item B on the prelim, did you read that? Or, hey, Sergio, did you get the prelim?
Yeah.
Hey, Sergio, bro, did you get the prelim?
Yeah.
Hey, Sergio, bro, are we funding? And it's like, let people do their job, and
Yeah.
everybody's got to stay in their lane. So follow up from a title rep, it's cool, but I think being in front of their face daily
relationship
is far more important.
Way more important.
Far more important.
Nice. Driving like a super fancy badass car.
Oh man, that's tough.
You have to say it. What does DB title believe? What does DB title?
On the weekend, fire.
Okay.
On the weekends, fire.
Cruising down, PCH, right?
During the weekday, I think that's not important. I think especially in this economy, when I think things are turning and there's going to be some people taking some big financial hits. Everybody, right? Like, you're not immune to it. I'm not immune to it. I think we're down 35% from a title perspective. So I think my wife and I are sort of saying, okay, in 6 months, in a year, if your income is this, what changes do we have to make? So we're already sort of projecting. So we're going to be. So I think crickets, my opinion, for the car you drive, I used to think that was important, but now I don't think people care what you drive. It's what type of value you bring to the table for the agent.
What's your energy, right?
Energy too.
Yeah.
That's a Nicki Minaj song. Are you a huge fan?
No, I don't even know the song.
What?
How does it go?
Big energy.
Oh yes, there you go. Yes, I've heard it. Sorry. I thought I was the younger one. I should know that.
I'm sure your assistant's upstairs.
I'm
Nat,
sure.
Nat, and who else?
Vanessa.
Nat and Vanessa. Vanessa, you're super cool. Nat, you guys are awesome.
Thank you guys.
I love Nicki Minaj.
They're gonna be so happy that you shut them out.
Nicki Minaj, and I know you guys probably like Nicki Minaj.
I'm sure they do.
Put Sergio on game.
There you go. Having a mentor.
I have never, well, as far as a coach or a mentor.
Let's go with mentor.
So my mentor will be my dad.
What's the difference?
I think a coach would hold you accountable in terms of weekly calls, check-ins, maybe Zoom calls. Sergio, what are you working on? What are you not working on? Sergio, tell me your victories. What aren't your victories? I think a coach sort of keeps you motivated, sort of keeps you in line. I've never hired a coach, but from what I've heard, right? I think a mentor is somebody that is on the ground and shows you how to do it without telling you how to do it. So my biggest takeaway from my dad was he showed us how to be title reps in terms of building relationships versus just getting title orders and not valuing them. So a mentor to me would be far more valuable than a coach. So I think, to put it in perspective, I think JJ would be a mentor.
Yes, 100%.
And I would prefer a JJ a million times over than any coach in America.
Yeah.
Because what you're getting out there is priceless. Upstairs, actually.
100% agree. Family time.
Hot, fire, the must.
It's super important.
So there's two lenders. I'm not going to mention their names, but they were very successful back in the day. And I love them to death. They're my family. But if you ask them what they could have done differently, and they made millions of dollars every year, millions of dollars. I mean, these people were crushing it, boats, cars, like whatever you needed. And you look at them today and they're still working, right? Because of the crash or whatever circumstances. And you say, what is the biggest takeaway? Like, what can you do differently if you could go back in time? Like, what would you change? And every single one of them, two gentlemen said, I would spend time with my family. I would go to my kids' games, and I would come home at a reasonable hour. So when you leave at 7 a.m. and you come back at 10 p.m., you're leaving when they're going to school. You're coming home when they're asleep. And that's the biggest regret to people that are very successful from my perspective, right, that I highly respect. So for them to actually acknowledge that, they're telling me, like, Danny,
don't do it.
Don't miss these opportunities. Dylan's 10, Daniel's 13. Coach if you have to. And look, if I lose clients, I'm okay with that. I'm fine. You weren't my client to begin with.
Yeah.
If I'm going to lose you because I don't answer the call at 3 p.m. when I'm coaching my 10-year-old son, Dylan.
Yep.
And I'm okay with that because these windows aren't going to last. And Dylan's going to be 15 and Danny's going to be 21 and they're going to be adults. And I want them to look back and say, Dad, you did it right.
Yeah.
And you're able to balance business and success and family. So if you're not spending time with your family, people that are highly successful now said that's their biggest regret. So spend time with your family. Don't be those people that say they regret it because you can never get time back. You can never get time back.
Agreed. Having a hobby.
Like a triathlon?
Okay.
So I think that's super important.
Is that your hobby?
That would be my hobby. I think hobbies, whether it's running, whether it's cycling, whether it's going to the beach and playing volleyball. Again, I think it's about balance. I don't know that that's a hot siren topic, but I feel like you have to incorporate some sort of a thing that takes you outside of your business, right?
So that you could come back and...
Correct. So when you're in your hobby, if I'm swimming in the bay, for a mile, I'm not thinking about title orders.
You're not thinking about me?
Now I am because you committed to a triathlon.
I never committed to this. I'm just joking.
We have it on video.
We're doing it.
So hobby, I mean, it's not super, super hot. I don't think it's super, super cold, but if you could do something to take your mind off business for a while, just to detach, and my dad likes to use the word decompress, perfect, because then you come back charged.
Daily affirmations.
I should do those more. Okay. I've been watching a video this morning, actually, that says, I can, I will, I must, by Eric Thomas. I don't know if you heard of Eric Thomas.
Mm-mm.
Bro.
I know.
Nicki Minaj.
Eric Thomas.
Petros Papadakis.
Who was your coach in football?
Your
coach at USC?
Oh, Paul Hackett.
I never heard of it. I had to look him up.
Did you?
Yeah, I read it from your bio.
Never heard of the show Hot or Not?
Never. I'm an uncultured child.
I think affirmations are important, but I think, again, you have to really believe and be in the moment. It's one thing to shout out hoorahs and yeah, dude, let's do it, man. Let's go kick ass, and we're badass agents, and we're going to do it. And then go on your social media, in the next 5 minutes. So if you guys want a good motivational video that's 29 minutes, it's I can, I will, and I must. Eric Thomas. It's played a huge factor in me getting up in the morning, me staying motivated, and really putting things in perspective with family and work and fitness. I think that's what I really want to be defined at when my career is done, right? Like family, fitness. What was the third one I just said? Family, fitness,
and career.
Career, yeah.
Yeah.
And work. All right.
And work. Yeah.
I think that's super important, but I will, I must. I don't do affirmations personally every morning, and I know people do write down affirmations. I don't. That's just not me. I rather get up and I rather run and work out and sort of get my body going than sit there for 20 minutes and say what I'm grateful for, because God knows what I'm grateful for, and it shows what you're grateful for.
But your actions.
You don't have to put it on paper. Yeah, through actions.
Yeah.
Just my personal belief.
I agree.
God bless people that do that. That works for you. I just don't do that personally.
I like it. Networking events. This is our last one.
For you, fire.
No, for you. I want to know what it is.
I will never miss an event for you again, bro. I am so sorry, dude.
Honestly, I was heartbroken.
You were hurt, right?
I was hurt, man. I'm just joking. No, networking events. Do you like them? Do you not like them? Hot or cold? Or hot or not, actually. I'm changing up the name of the game.
I would say, gosh, that's a tough one. Have I ever gotten deals from a networking event? Maybe, but most likely probably not.
Yeah.
I think a lot has to do with socializing with your peers, which is cool. And I think it might be important for realtors and mortgage lenders to kind of get connected with you guys. But title, at the end of the day, am I going to get a title from going to a networking event? I don't know. And I have not really, it hasn't translated to that. I won't discourage people from doing that, but don't rely on business based on networking events. If you think going to a networking event is being busy and you're going to get busy and get deals, like no, you're wasting your time.
100% no.
Especially if you get sloshy, drunk, messy, dude, you're wasting your time.
Which we've seen, trust me.
But if you're single and you're looking to mingle, more power to you.
Do it.
Have fun. Yeah.
I like it. Good answer. Well, Danny, thank you so much for being on the show today. Honestly, it was a pleasure to have you, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you for being part of the show. And please tell our listeners where can they listen to you? Where can they connect with you?
So Instagram, DB Title, Facebook, DB Title. Probably most of you guys are listening.
They can't hear you.
I'm new to this. My first podcast.
It's okay. It's okay.
So Instagram, just DB Title, and Facebook, Danny Bravo. And those are my two social media. But
email
would be bravo.title@yahoo.com. My cell phone number is 562-788-0142, 562-788-0142. Thank you very much.
The best in the industry. If you ever need a title rep, this is your guy. Thank you, guys.
That, brother. Thank you, guys. Are you hot or not?
Are you hot or not?